Hello, it's your boy, coming at you live
from under a blanket.
So, I was in the process of researching and writing my next guide about keybinds and weapon loadouts. Why some keybinds or weapon orders might be preferable for cybergrind or speedrunning. I had all of this research and planning already done, and then this madman dropped an entire fucking update with no warning, and all of my best laid plans were thrown in the trash. Anyways, I spent a few days learning the new rocket launcher, the level, and the new boss, and something struck me. The combat encounters in this Gauntlet before the boss are more like puzzle encounters. Puzzle encounters at wave 30 of cybergrind, to be frank, but puzzle encounters nonetheless. And like with any puzzle, they can be made significantly easier if you know how to approach them. After being able to consistently P-rank this level, I'm confident that I can help you get that juicy P-rank as well. This guide will go through every encounter one by one, and I will provide multiple ways of dealing with each encounter, depending on which tech you're comfortable with. For instance, one route might involve rocket riding, but if you're not comfortable with rocket riding, there will be an alternative relying on the whiplash to compensate. You will be able to mix and match these strats to create your own route. Using these strats, you should be able to shave off a significant portion of the enemy spawning in pretty quickly with these strats. But some encounters are longer, so randomness will become a factor, and you'll have to improvise a bit. One last thing before starting, we need to know the style requirements for this level. To P-rank this level, you will need at least 36,000 style points, 59 kills, and you'll have to finish the level under 10 minutes and 20 seconds. You're gonna start off by rocket riding, slide jumping, or slam storing towards the first encounter. And remember to use this shortcut. Start off by placing a saw trap roughly around the center of the room. If you place your saw trap too close to the door, your saws might get caught in the door frame and will get destroyed before you even start the fight. After that, ready your core shotgun, start the encounter and immediately back away. Shoot your core and nuke it with a malicious rail. This should instantly kill 2 or even 3 Cerberus and severely damage the remaining ones. A ferryman will spawn after the 2 Cerberus die, so be prepared. I like to combine coin punching, projectile boosting and saw traps to deal with them. Keep in mind that the 2 virtues outside will only spawn after the final Cerberus has been killed, so you might want to keep him around to delay their spawn. Plus, a Cerberus is much easier to hit than the ferryman, and it should provide you an easy source of healing. Keep in mind though that he will die after 1 or 2 shotgun blasts. Another strat against the ferryman is going from corner to corner, so he has to come at you from one direction, making him an easy shot for you. Your rail cannon should come off cooldown during your battle with him, so feel free to use it on him. In case you didn't use your coins during this fight, you can throw all of them and shoot them with the rail for a guaranteed hit and an easy kill. If you're really struggling with tracking them in the small room, you can go to a corner and screwdriver him to make it easier for you. It is imperative to kill him before the virtues outside enrage, as that makes the encounter borderline unreadable. Virtues will enrage after firing 3 beams on violent and 5 beams on standard. Once the ferryman is dead, the door will open, and you can use a rail cannon to kill the 2 virtues outside, but I like to kill them with other methods, so I already have the rail ready for the start of the next encounter. For this route, you will also place a saw trap at the start, but instead of nuking, you will go to one side and rail coin as soon as the Cerberus spawn. A rail coin combo will always kill a Cerberus, but I like the rail coin ad. With this method, you can usually kill 3 Cerberus or even wipe the room completely. The rest of the fight is more chaotic and random, so the same general tips as in Route A apply here too. I always start off by placing a saw trap here. Aim roughly where I'm aiming to start placing the magnets. This should kill, or at least severely damage, one of the sentries that spawn here. If you use your rail to kill the virtues, wait for it to come off cooldown before initiating the fight. Wait for the swords machine to spawn and rail coin it as soon as you get the chance. In case you miss the rail coin, or the rail bounced towards the idled mind flayer, back away and use the mind flayer's projectiles to finish the swords machine off. Mind flayers will always use their orb attack first after spawning, so use this knowledge to your advantage. After eliminating one sentry and the swords machine, you can focus on killing the remaining sentry and then the schisms. In case you get hurt a lot during this encounter, use the schisms for a quick heal, and or set up a saw trap to recover some health and style. A handy tip for schisms is that you can one-shot them by knuckle blastering them to the ground if you get them in the air. In case you're not confident in your rail pointing skill, set up a trap on the road, roughly where the sword machine spawns, and start the fight with a nuke to weaken the sentries and the swords machine. After this, you have two choices: shotgun swapping to finish it, or backing away to parry the mind flayer orbs. Cleaning up the schisms afterwards should be a piece of cake. If the nuke isn't working for you, you can use a rail cannon, followed by a projectile boost to stun the swords machine, followed by shotgun swapping at close range. The rest of this route is the same as the others. Finally, you can go for a parry on the swords machine and finish it with shotgun swapping, or you can pull back and try for an orb parry. The same general tips as in the other routes apply for this one too. Moving on to the next encounter, before you go ahead, take note of your health. If you're low, dodge around for a bit and parry the mind flayer orbs for a full heal before going ahead. The mind flayer will sometimes go for a melee attack, and it could kill you while you're going down the hallway. I like to start this encounter by rail coining the Cerberus that spawns in front of you, but if you miss the rail coin or the mind flayer knocks you around, don't worry. Stick close to the barrier behind the Cerberus and spam saws and nails. The hallway is so cramped that the saws will melt the Cerberus and the street cleaners coming after you. Spamming the knuckle blaster also helps. A great tip for this encounter is to listen for the mind flayer's attacks, as the flare will often kill the spawned enemies for you. This goes double for the laser attack. So if you hear an attack coming, try to spam dash to avoid the damage, or if you want to be even safer, dash storage down the hallway. This encounter is so simple that I can't really think of any special strats for this one. The only change I could think of for this hallway is that you can skip the rail coin at the start, as the saws and nails should provide more than enough damage with good placement. This way you'll have your rail cannon and coins immediately ready for the opening of the next arena. Hoo boy! This is the first encounter that some people get stuck on until they give up on the level entirely, so let's break it as best we can. In my opinion, this is the most random and chaotic encounter in the level, aside from the boss, so if you manage to survive, you're pretty much good. When you enter the room, an additional mind flayer will spawn, along with a sentry and two swords machines. After killing the sentry and the swords machines, two virtues and two Maurices will spawn, and finally, after killing them, you can destroy the idols protecting the mind flayers. But what if we could skip to the good part and just... Okay, you used to be able to do this, but it went against the intended design of the encounter and was patched during the making of this video. Rest in peace, chargebacking mind flayers, you will be missed. Just wanted to show off some sick clips before we get on with the video. And back to the guide. Before starting this arena, consider your health and weapon status. If you're low on health, you might want to wait until the mind flayer that's been pestering you for the past 2 rooms does an orb attack, so you can get some health. Your saws, magnets, coins and rail cannon will regenerate during this brief downtime too. To start off, place your saws where one of the swords machines spawn, and get ready to rail coin as soon as it does. You shouldn't need to coin add, as the saw trap should provide you enough damage. I like to keep backing away and slowly chipping away at the second swords machine with projectile boosts or coin punches. If you're slide jumping or slam jumping, you should be relatively safe from the swords machine, and you can focus on listening for the sentry and the mind flayers. A single orb parry will probably finish off the swords machine, but I like to charge back it. If you're bad at chargebacks, eliminate the sentry at your own discretion, as it isn't terribly dangerous in this arena. You can easily take cover behind the stairs to dodge a shot, or to force it to reposition, resetting its attack. As soon as the sentry and swords machines die, 2 virtues and 2 Maurices will spawn. The virtues are significantly more dangerous and you should eliminate them first. Use a whiplash or a rocket ride to get into position to rail both virtues at once. Focus on aiming on the virtue farther away from you, as the hitbox is fairly large and you'll probably hit the closer one even if it looks like you'll miss. And even if you do miss, you're still in range for a shotgun and knuckle blaster combo. After dealing with the virtues, reorient yourself quickly and try to spot the mind flayers and be prepared to parry in case they attack while you are setting the virtue kill up. Proceed to whiplash to the Maurices and delete them with a shotgun swap and knuckle blaster combo. A level 3 pump shotgun and knuckle blaster can also work, especially if you manage to hit a parry. And finally, time to have revenge on those fucking mind flayers. Step onto the elevated surface where the idols are. If you position yourself in the center and charge a knuckle blaster punch, the shockwave will destroy both idols, sending you flying. Keep in mind, you will need to stand a bit closer than the edge, or you might destroy the idols without getting a heal out of it. The mind flayers shouldn't pose too much of a problem now, because you've dealt with them thus far. You can try to land an insta-kill with the malicious rail, or go for the 4-coin slam charge shot. You're going to need to slam jump or rocket ride to get enough height for this combo. Alternatively, if you can't get this to work, focus on parrying the orbs and whiplashing and shotgunning them in between their attacks. Some additional tips I can give is to abuse the friendly fire the enemy attacks have. If you can kite a swords machine in between yourself and a mind flayer, their orbs will sometimes one-shot the swords machine. Also, take advantage of the large arcs the orbs have to take to circle around to you. If you're close to a wall or below the mind flare, simply dodging or sliding under will make them collide with the wall or the ground and give you some space. Moving on to the next arena, you have 2 choices. Do you want to fight the insurrectionists for style points, or do you not want to risk it? After trying the level a few times, you'll probably be able to tell if you have enough style after the last arena. If you have an A in style, somewhere around 33,000 style points, you shouldn't have an issue strangling the insurrectionists. Oh, you don't know about strangling? I know it sounds like a sex thing, but it's legit. Look! To strangle the insurrectionist, you need to be above either of the blood pits when the fight starts. Use the rocket freeze and walls to stay above it until they jump in. If you're fast, they will both jump in at the start, but if you mistime it, you can still drop them in by going above the pit when they jump. Keep in mind you'll be missing out on the style points you'd be getting by fighting them normally. And you don't want to miss out on a P rank after a perfect run because you skipped a relatively easy fight. You can also opt to strangle only one insurrectionist to make the fight slightly easier, but to still get some style points. Should you choose to fight in this encounter, start off by placing a saw trap. Focus on spamming explosions with your rockets and projectile boosts. And in case you didn't know, the whiplash will set enemies on fire if you have the skull in your hand, so you can abuse this fact to get some easy heals. Insurrectionists bleed a lot more when on fire, so whenever you're low, just whiplash and shotgun swap them. Another useful tip is to try and hit an insurrectionist with a cannonball when they're falling down, because this will make their stun last a lot longer. If you get some space, or if you're feeling completely overwhelmed, just set up a saw trap and you should survive. In the recent hotfix, the blood tunnel has been changed, so it only deals damage and no longer teleports you. But if you follow these routes, these will be the easiest fights in the level, by far. Before starting the encounter, check if your rail cannon is off cooldown. As soon as the virtues spawn, shoot a core and nuke it. This will send both virtues into the wall every time, killing them both instantly. Follow up by dealing with the Maurices using your Knuckle Blaster and shotgun swapping. You should have enough time after killing both to shoot the antenna of the sentry using a coin or a direct shot, or just simply dodge it. Or, if you're feeling ballsy, just go for a charge back. Alternatively, you can use a rocket whip to nuke both virtues and boost yourself to the sentry. To perform this tech, you have to whiplash a rocket back to yourself, but while you are not falling. If you're falling, you'll initiate a rocket ride. So in this instance, dash jump, shoot, whip almost at the same time, and let go of all of your movement buttons, and you should be launched towards the sentry. You will hear the virtues explode behind you. Use shotgun swapping and the Knuckle Blaster to quickly deal with it, before turning your attention to the remaining Maurices. The fight should be relatively straightforward from here. A cannonball snipe can work just as well as a nuke, but since the explosion is a bit smaller, it's easier to mess up and only send one virtue into the wall. If you mess up, use a charged slab revolver to give it that final push without risking getting thrown in the wall yourself. If you choose this route, you will have a rail cannon ready for the remaining sentry and Maurices. You can use the rail to simultaneously hit a Maurice and the sentry, interrupting the sentry's aiming and severely damaging or even killing the Maurice. If you want an even simpler method, you can shoot a rail so you hit both the virtue and the Maurice behind it, and the explosion from the virtue's death will usually send the other virtue into the wall. This is the least consistent method, but you should be able to finish the second virtue with a slab charge shot should it live, leaving you only to clean up a sentry and two Maurices, one of which is enraged and half dead. Moving on to the other half of the blood tunnel, use a rocket ride to reach the Maurice on the other side. Use a quick shotgun swap and Knuckle Blaster combo to kill him, and the shockwave from his death will bounce both sentries, killing them instantly. Use a cannonball into a whip and projectile boost to damage one Cerberus and finish it however you please. I like using the revolver or coins. The last Cerberus is best dealt with by baiting him into falling off the platform, or just spamming attacks from a safe distance. Don't be afraid to go in close should you need a heal. A single Cerberus is a slow and predictable enemy, and his shoulder check is much slower than his throw. In case you're not comfortable with rocket riding, use a whiplash to close in on the Maurice. During your flight, be ready to parry or dash to the side, depending on how comfortable you are with parrying. The rest of the encounter will play out the same. And finally, the last part of this gauntlet, and the second hardest fight you'll have to survive before the boss fight. If you're having trouble with the ferryman more than the swords machines, start off by placing a trap like me. You should aim about where I'm aiming, in this darker part of this corner. After setting up, rocket ride or dash jump and slide jump towards your trap. Throw 4 coins in the air and shoot your rail cannon. This will kill the ferryman instantly. The rest of this encounter is fairly easy, as you only have 4 strays and 2 swords machines to deal with in a huge open space. Use rail coins, saw traps, projectile boosts, or whatever you want. Always remember that you can still knock around idled enemies. You should use your rocket launcher's splash or the Knuckle Blaster to send the stalker flying. You can do this even when he's halfway done with his explosion animation and he will miss. Keep this up and you'll always have a steady supply of blood in this arena. Should you choose to kill both swords machines first, start off by setting up a saw trap on this staircase like me. Set it up on both sides if you're using the nail gun. Start the encounter and go back up the stairs behind you. Be careful not to do it too quickly, as one swords machine might go around instead of down the middle. Once they're in range of the trap, do a rail coin add combo, and this should kill them both. And if they're somehow still alive, a few explosions or an overpump will finish the job. Continue the rest of this fight like normal, and try to eliminate the ferryman first, so you can use the strays for health should you need it. This route is more random, in my opinion, as the ferryman is such a fast and dangerous enemy. After wiping the previous wave, a sentry will spawn in each of the 4 corners of the map, with an idled Hideous mass in the center. Depending on what you used in the previous round and your positioning, you'll have to choose one of the following strats. If you're good at split shots, the best strategy is to stand between 2 sentries like so, and split coin 4 times, killing 2 sentries at once, leaving you to dodge only 1 sentry. You may be asking, am I bad at math? But if you observe closely, idols don't protect the enemies just from your shots, as the sentry shots will bounce off too, so remember to use the Hideous mass as cover, and you only have to deal with 1 sentry. Another nice nook to hide in to reset the attack timer on the sentries is the staircase below the idols. Be careful not to linger too long down here, as you're gonna be experiencing a hail of artillery within seconds. Proceed to clean up the remaining sentries with whatever combo you like using. I like using shotgun swapping with the knuckle blaster or the SRS launcher and coins. If you have a railgun ready, position yourself so you hit 2 sentries at once and proceed to combo them like normal. Once the final sentry is killed, 3 virtues will spawn high up above you, along with 3 Cerberus on the ground. This is the final round of this hellish room, but if you take out the virtues first, the rest will be easy. If you're good at quick rocket riding, ride up high and try to line up a double kill with the rail cannon. I like going for the middle virtue along with either of the outer ones, as it is slightly higher up, making it easier to line up. You will notice when rocket riding or whiplashing towards virtues that you usually end up higher than them, so the position of the middle virtue works best. After killing 2 virtues, finish off the last one with a level 3 pump shotgun and knuckle blaster combo, or any method you're comfortable with. After dealing with the virtues, it's time to deal with the mosh pit below you. I recommend using a saw trap and spamming explosives to deal damage to the horde. There is one choice you have regarding the Hideous mass though. After killing the sentries, the idol protecting the Hideous mass will be exposed, giving you the choice of deleting it now and dealing damage to the Hideous mass while clearing the Cerberus, or saving the idol for a free full heal when you need it. Along with a free heal, the idol will send you flying, giving you some much needed breathing room. After dealing with the Cerberus, finish off the Hideous mass with any method you like. Saw traps, projectile boosts, rail coin combos, 4 coins and a slab charge shot, do whatever you're comfortable with. After the Hideous mass dies, the final idol will be exposed and you'll be able to kill the Stalker and finish the Gauntlet. Remember that you can use your rocket launcher to blast away the Stalker if he's about to sand the Cerberus or the Hideous mass. In case you're not good at rocket riding, whiplash to the middle virtue and try to land a double rail. After wiping the virtues, slide jump or rocket jump around to kite the enraged mob in the center of the arena. Spam saws and explosions and you'll have no trouble. The same general tips as in the previous route apply here. A stylish, if a bit hard to perform option, is to launch yourself to the virtues using the idle explosions. I find it hard to line up, so I wouldn't recommend it, but this way you get a full heal instead of hard damage if you're low on health. It's a bit hard to line up and I wouldn't recommend it, But this way you'll get a full heal instead of hard damage like you would if you were using the Whiplash while low on health. After you did this, congratulations, you beat the Gauntlet. Now take a breather and get ready for the real challenge in this level. And this is gonna be a two-parter. I'm sorry, but it has to be for my own sanity. I had roughly 1 hour of audio for this guide, and 25 minutes of that is just Sisyphus. I'll try to get it out within a week or two, so subscribe if you want to see it on day 1. And don't worry, when the video drops, I'm gonna be thoroughly dismantling Sisyphus's ass. And here's a little sneak peek of it.
You can't escape.
And like I promised earlier in the video, a few clips from a pre-patch double mind flayer room.
Oh shit.
And see you soon.
Nebo je fucking hlast beránka.
Yes, everything for you. Osim Steam Deck, ker fakat nemam 500 eura na računu. Hier, hoć njega isto nema.